I made this top originally about a year ago to wear to the Eras tour, and I did the man, but I'm gonna show you how to make your own. Pull it Taylor's top, Taylor's version. It's actually pretty easy. I feel like because I figured out the hard stuff for you. I'm actually really excited for this one because I feel like it's gonna be really fun for me to make this because I don't have to figure it out. And so I think for you, it's gonna be fun to make this because you don't really have to figure it out too much either. Because again, like I said, I did all the hard work for you. I think the key really is my pattern that I made for it, and I'll have it graded to be for different sizes. The pattern piece, major, you gotta have it as a layout. Going to need something for the sides to attach the strands to go back and forth on. What I like about this trim is that it's already measured out like where you attach each strand, so you don't have to like mark it or remember or whatever. It's already kind of gridded out for you. So we're thinking smarter, not harder. All your beads. Obviously the beads. For the beads, I'm gonna put in the caption the size of beads that you need because it actually can be like a little confusing, and so that way you don't over order. And then also I get sequins so I can do some like layering and just like add some interest. You can tell I'm doing red. I'm gonna do All Too Well, 10-minute version. I'm also gonna make it skirt, but this is just for the top. But anyways, stay focused, Darren. You can get the letters in these boxes where they're just the same equal letters per in the alphabet, and that's like not that helpful because you can see like I already went through letters that like I had to get multiple packages for. So I was a smart girly and I used ChatGPT to ask how many letters I need for the 10-minute version of All Too Well. If you copy and paste the lyrics and you put it into ChatGPT and you ask like how many letters, can you like label out, can you like let me know how many letters? I'll put in the exact prompt here. I like honestly don't even remember it. I'll put in the exact prompt so it's easier for you also. But you put in the prompt of just asking it like to tell you how many letters you need for the lyrics, and then it tells you. I'm sure you also have a bunch of like things left over or whatever. If you want to be resourceful with your things, obviously do that. But again, I think this is just like minimal waste because you can be like a little bit more specific. To string the beads on, I used embroidery floss. This brand is my favorite, Madeira. I just like love how it comes out of the package. Like it makes it like really clean and it's not like annoying like other things of like the other, like the little of embroidery thread. You can also use mercerized cotton thread. This is really good. So I like use this a lot when I was in college and I was weaving, but you would use it for the warp because you can have a lot of tension on it and it won't break, unlike a lot of yarns where if you pull on it too much, it can unravel or break. For the needle, I love to use these John James darner needles. I feel like they're just so versatile. It's a size 1-5. I just like the length of them. There's like the smaller one I think is gonna be good for this, but you can fit like a thicker thread and it's just like long and thin, so I feel like you can just, I don't know, get a good grip on it, kind of like really load up the beads. I don't know, I just love these needles. So again, very flexible. You can choose what other needles you want, but these ones I really like. This has 2 closures. It's one around the neck and it goes like this. So it's just like a hook. It's a hook and eye. Like you want to get kind of thicker ones. Oh my God, I forgot the other thing that you guys need. I love these like little triangle dishes, because what you can do is like if you don't have a space that you can just like leave things out, or even when you're done, you put whatever you need in here. So say you're like working on these, you can just lay them all out so they're not in these bags, they're not on the table. And then when you're done, the triangle shape is the best because then you just pour it back in. Major. You have your pattern piece, and again, your pattern piece will be a little different from this one because it's going to be graded. What I suggest is you actually don't even cut it out. You can trace it, like trace the size that you want, and you want to mark center front for, like that line is going to be really important. I make the tutorial before I get the pattern, so like the pattern's off a little, but it won't be off for you because the way I'm tracing it. So basically then the tails kind of come out and then that's what attaches to the back. So this is kind of like where you want to end the lyrics. Move the pattern piece. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just so that way it just kind of looks nice, you know? I'm going to tape the parameter of the pattern piece so it move around. I think if you're working on a surface that you can't like keep, you could always put it on a piece of cardboard or something, I think. Maybe this is like your summer you know, art project you want to work on. You don't care to finish it like all in one setting. You want to bring it around. It's like a little travel thing that you do. Draw down the center front so we can just remember where the center is. It is time. I'm so excited. So, but you basically just like kind of measure this out. And then like I said, in the pattern piece, I'm going to have it to tell you how much to leave at the end. I'm just doing a little extra because you never want to be out. I'll tell you that much. Two of those. You want to make sure they're also going the same direction. Like I almost messed this up, but my V's there's a V that goes this way and then there's a V that goes this way. So you actually want them to be going the same way. So I think I'm going to have this one switch up these down as well. You don't want to tape this down because you'll be sewing into it and like moving it, you know? So you don't want to keep these free as a bird, but it's just nice because again, see how you just have this base like this. The pattern piece that always guides you. I think what would be hard is to try to do this on a mannequin because then like you can't layer up the beads. And now what we can do is like we can just like start stringing on the first line and then you can see how many of the red beads you need on either side. I'm just going to organize by size. So that way when I like map out the stuff, I can be like, okay, I want like a medium one or a big one or whatever one, you know? Oh, sure. Having the alphabet base is actually nice, so you can just fill it in with the letters as you run out. You want to double the yarn so that way it's a full loop and not just one-ended. This is obviously the tedious part. I mean, honestly, everything's tedious, but that's why we're doing this, I guess. Okay, so you want to lay out the lyrics. Obviously, whatever song you're going to do is going to be different to what you can fit in. Sometimes you have to break up the first sentence of the lyric, but again, you'll figure it out based on the song that you're doing. And I'm going to overshow a little bit in the beginning just so you can really get the visuals of how to do this, and then you'll just get going on your own. Once the lyrics are laid out, then you can start the threading. So what I do is I go through the trim and then I go through that loop. So that's why you double the yarn so that way you can make a loop and make it solid. Then you can start beading the beads. And I like to do a little bit of a smaller bead towards the trim because as you go down, everything really starts to like kind of get on top of each other. So as it goes, you almost just want smaller beads towards the trim. And then you can just start beading the lyrics on, and then I space out each word with a couple beads or a big bead. Again, you can kind of decide what that looks like for you. Then you want to just go down. I make kind of like a U-turn shape, and then you can just get started on the next line. And I think you're starting to see how important like having the pattern for the base, because again, if you were trying to do this on a mannequin, you can't really lay out the lyrics to see what fits, because it really is kind of like you have to finagle the lyrics to see where it fits in the top and like how it makes sense because it needs to like read well. I think it's important to see how, again, like I don't even do this perfect, that you'll have to take beads off. Sometimes you'll put something on and it's not quite right, but you just want to make sure that you're laying the right foundation and getting that curve right, because it's just going to set you up for success as you go down the road. And when you're ready to tie it off, I do 2 knots, sometimes 3 if I'm feeling insane. Don't forget to stretch your body. This is a lot of bending over and using your back, so be careful to your body. Okay, so for grammatical things like apostrophes, I really like using these like little sequins because you can like make just enough differentiation. Like look at the U, like look at this. A little apostrophe on the U. And then that way it doesn't get like jumbled in and looks nasty. I love using the spacers and the sequins to kind of create like a vertical bead. It's one of my faves. And now is when you can just like sit and vibe. Like this is the fun part. You see, I've already made it so far. I laid out the lyrics, so it made it easy so I could just like, sit and bead. There's nothing like this feeling when you finish. Like, I can't even wait to see it on. So we need to glue the sides, and you can use either one of these glues. They're clear and malleable and super easy to work with. Why we're gluing it down is just to secure it. Like the glue is going to firm up the trim and the embroidery floss to make it even more secure. Okay, so I do the top, around the neck first, and I'll have the measurement so you can do it, but I would double check just because things might fall when you do the beads, and then do the clasp on the bottom so that way you can like really get it to fit right. Okay, so then you want to fold over the trim just maybe about like 1/2 inch, and you first go through and secure the trim down before you do the closure. The thread you'll want to be doubled too, just for extra security. And also, I always like to, when I work with a trim, to have it be a loop. So when you start it, you can put the needle through the loop versus just like a single thread. It just feels a lot stronger. Then you can attach the hook and eye. I'm going to show you how to do one, and then you can do the rest like this. Go through the O's, and then you go over in between the O's. Okay, the neck is done. Bring it in the back and hold where I want it to fit. And then you just cut like a little bit ahead of it because that's the part that you curve under. Then you just like cut a little bit in front of it. So it feels kind of like insane to just do this after all this hard work, but you just gotta trust yourself, you know? Okay, so stressful. Okay, so then you just go and sew these together. Then you're done. Okay, I hope my references are caught. So I'm starting in like upstate, and it's like happy, and then it ends in a bookshop where, you know, Taylor's reading her All Too Well book, but I don't have that book, so I'm reading Want by Gillian Anderson. And yeah. Thanks for watching. I hope it inspired you to get a little crafty. If you make this top, please tag me. I want to see what song you choose. Subscribe if you want more weird and wonderful projects. Now go touch some beads. Your nervous system will thank you.